Welcome to Podcast 23, everybody. Thanks for your patience and your ongoing support. I got a chance to talk to a bunch of guys yesterday, and everyone's like, we like the podcast. Where's 23 at? So here it is, mother bitches. We
Mother
definitely
bitches.
dropped the ball there for a little bit because there's a couple weeks that we didn't release one, but it's been busy, crazy time. So we'll be back at it now. This is 23. I'm excited. It's Keegan and Marcus.
Hello.
Hell, yes. I think Max is still in his extreme training phase. It's like 8 to 8 every day, and I think he's enjoying it. But I feel like it's a lot for him. So
Yeah, it's probably a lot to anyone. Even if you
yeah,
like doing
I'm excited to hear
shit.
about it though.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So yeah,
I have big news.
what's that? What's the big news?
Last Wednesday, I interviewed at a job or for a job in Grand Junction, Colorado, and they have a job offer ready for me. So I'm calling tomorrow to have that conversation and probably accept a job in Grand Junction, Colorado.
It's cool. There's mountains I hear in Colorado as long
Oh, there's a
as
whole
what's
bunch.
yeah, and elk. Ooh.
Oh yeah. What's fun with this spot? It's so like Fort Collins is kind of really expensive. Denver area is really expensive, and they're these giant metropolitan centers, and so that's like the East Slope is what they call it. So it's a lot of people, and it's a lot of like if you think of like all the stereotypical Coloradoans, they're on that side. But then the west side is much more Utah, where it's that high mountain, high desert, much drier. Um, Grand Junction is like I think it's like 50,000 people, so it's only about the size of Stevens Point, not like mega huge, but there's still amazing skiing. There's amazing fishing. Mountain biking is really really big over there, so that's something we have to look at. So
I think that would be
very
cool.
excited.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
cool shit in Colorado, obviously.
Oh yeah.
My
And
dad's
it's so close to so many cool areas.
yeah. My dad's been there a bunch of times to go elk hunting. So he knows some areas quite well. I think that would be cool though. Just go over there and
Hmm.
do some shit like that, or
You have to
just live
come
there.
visit, motherfucker.
Yeah,
It'll be a hoot.
yeah.
It's just
That'd
kind of
be
annoying because it's like I think it's like 19 hours away from Stevens Point, Wisconsin. It's like 16 hours from my like ancestral homeland of Plainville, Elgin, Millview, that region. But it'll be fun. It'll be a nice trip, be a nice change of scenery. That move is probably going to happen end of July, early August. So it's exciting.
I don't really have anything exciting like that. Um, but I did decide since yesterday when I saw you and Joe that they were talking about rugby tournament, and I was just kind of thinking about it. I'm like, that sounds fun and all. Kind of want to play again. All these young bucks are getting their
Oh, we
Zulus in,
can.
and I'm still Zululess. So I'm like, okay. And
You might be
then
the only All American that's not scored a try.
probably, unfortunately, and I was just like today when I was sitting in the cash office, I was just like, yeah, I can hold and I can reschedule that tattoo appointment and wait a little bit. Haas isn't gonna retire yet. My the
No.
tattoo artist I go to is probably
Oh, okay.
retiring within like the next year or so. He's about mid 60s, but
Oh, so you want to get him in before he's done?
yeah, but like I don't think that's gonna be the issue. Whereas like how many times am I gonna play with you again or someone else? Like so I'm like I might as well do this. So I'm gonna put in off. Hopefully I get off and playing around it. Yeah.
Very nice. It's one of those things too. Is like there's gonna be a lot of guys that we've played a lot of rugby with at that tournament in various forms because it's well, there's a couple guys from the Milwaukee area, there's a couple guys from here, a couple guys there. So we could probably put together like an all-star point team, and it'd be
Yeah.
super funny. But it'll be fun to have other guys and see where it ends up in that. It's gonna be a bit of a reunion. It's gonna be neat.
Yeah, I would say so. Have you talked to Jonah at all lately?
Jonah is currently playing with the Celtics in
Yeah, I
Green
was.
Bay, and
I
they
was.
and they usually send a side. They'll at least send a
Okay.
few guys.
Yeah, I was gonna
And
say.
they, yeah, and that tournament it's Pigs Fest, and it's a really good vibe. Like it's not too intense. Like yeah, like the Wisconsin teams, the select side, or whatever the fuck are the Wisconsin team though, they'll be kind of dickish about stuff because that's how they are. But everyone else is like, oh, this is a fun tens tournament. Like there's I don't know if there's a trophy even like, or if it is, it might be like a 10th grade or like a 7th grade wrestling tournament trophy. That's a new piece of tape over it. It's like no, this is for 2021 Oshkosh Big Fest, but it's a fun tournament. It's a cool spot too. They usually roast a whole pig for after the tournament.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
You haven't gone to that one before, have you?
No, I think there were talks about it before. Um, not last year, but the year before.
Mm,
But I never went. I don't know why. Probably
you'll like
something
it.
stupid. Yeah, it'll be fun.
We
I
should
just
carpool, Marcus.
yeah, probably get a good idea. So I know Joe wants to go. Joe will be going. So there's a couple people right there.
Yeah,
So
it's gonna be a fun one.
yeah,
I don't know what teams will be there because I know there was rumbles of getting a Great Dane team together because 2 years ago we had a Great Dane squad and we were on pace to win the tournament. We actually beat the Wisconsin team, like the state team or whatever the fuck they called themselves. But we beat them and we were gonna go to the finals and play somebody that they had already beat. So it's a fun tournament.
yeah. I think I could probably scrape together a couple people too. I know Brandon will probably want to do that too. So I don't know.
It'll be a fun one.
Yeah. So anywho,
Well, we should do that sooner or later though, so we can actually get a team in and
yeah,
not just go on as these like loose guys.
yeah, that sounds fun.
We'll get there.
Yeah, exactly.
And in world news, masks are coming off. Like, like, do you see that shit?
Yeah, I think
CD. Yeah.
CDC. Yeah. I know personally that Walmart, um, as of the 18th, so Tuesday, if you're fully vaccinated, they will give you a $75 bonus, and then you don't have to wear your mask anymore at work. So
Are you vaccinated yet?
I have my first one. I get my second one next Sunday, which I'm
It's
just setting
exciting.
myself up for failure because Saturday we're going out downtown because of graduation, and I'm gonna try and get
Hmm.
Kirsten's dad drunk as fuck.
Do
So
it.
I'm gonna try and get him to drink a trash can. So
They're not good.
I don't mind them,
You don't mind
but
them?
don't get watermelon. Watermelon is fucking gross.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I'm gonna try and get him to drink some of that. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be a fun graduation this year. There's gonna be so many people between the
Yeah.
like 2 years of people graduating, and everyone's kind of like crawling out. And now with this mask thing, it's like, hey, if you're vaccinated, you don't have to. Like it's okay. It's like, well, people are gonna go nuts. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm
Did
interested to see though, like from like research, like epidemiology perspective, like are we gonna see a lot more cases now? Are we gonna see a spike because all these people are gonna lie about being vaccinated and then they'll just spread it because they're plague rats? But I guess we'll see.
did Katie walk in December?
No.
No. Is she walking now or no?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So Big George is walking at like 11.
Awesome.
I'm walking at like 3, and then Katie walks at 5.
Oh, I didn't know you were walking.
Yeah. It's not for me. It's for my parents. I've had
Yeah.
like well, it's kind of weird because like I've had 4 or 5 different grad parties or like this is your grad dinner. Like well, now we're no matter what we're saying you're graduated, this is done. And we've done that like 5 times. So now this is the actual nail
Good. Good
in
for
the
you.
coffin. So
Yeah.
that'd be fun.
I wanted to do that last year, and I probably would have done it. No, because you couldn't walk in the winter. I don't think either. I probably would have done that. But like, I'm a year removed from school. It's just like, eh. So,
Yeah.
well, not quite a
It's
year,
so
but
weird.
yeah.
I was like, okay. I know I'm still in the masters, so I'm less removed, but it's still weird.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I graduated last spring. It's like, oh, it's like a year ago.
Hmm.
So I think a move will move into Colorado and for a year, so I think that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Just go be an adult in like an actual town. I'm gonna have to make friends again. I don't want to do that shit.
Yeah, I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
But like as an adult, how do you make friends that aren't your coworkers? Do you just like talk to random people? Do you join clubs?
I think that's it.
That's about it. It's like that's probably
Find,
like true.
yeah, find something you like. Join rugby again.
I
Make some
would
friends.
if there was a team up there that wasn't crazy about it. I'm gonna look right now. Like, but if they didn't like play 80 tournaments,
Something just casual.
right? They have high school rugby.
Oh, that's good. Um, yeah, I never really thought about that. Like, there's people
There,
like, go on.
men's D2. Oh no, that's Colorado Mesa University. So there is a college town up there. Is there? Is there like a men's team? Look on Facebook. The rugby powerhouse. But I wrestled somebody yesterday too at that party.
Who? Oh, yeah. I thought you meant like you came across someone who you wrestled with in high school for a sec.
No, I
You
wrestled
got me.
Lakuma.
That's funny.
He challenged me and I pinned him right away. It was fun. It appears to be a very significant Brazilian Jiu Jitsu group.
Ooh, there you go. Um, so cool. I
Let's look
almost think
here.
that judo would be better for me personally. From like the
What?
very little I know about them, I feel like judo would be a better match for me. Because I don't
I
know
don't
if I
think
have.
so.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay. Like, why is that?
Judo's Judo is just inconvenient Greco-Roman wrestling.
Yeah, I don't know. I
That's
thought
all.
that would.
It's
Okay.
like it's fun, I guess, but eh.
I don't like just like the way I hear and like kind of see it. It sounds very technical, and I'm just like not judo, but like BJJ. And it sounds very technical, and I'm not exactly the most technical person when it comes to like body movements and stuff like that. So I feel like that would really throw me a loop, but who knows? Wouldn't hurt, I guess.
Eh. Well, it's one of those things that's you have to remember. Like, there's these uber top end guys. That's like Gary Tonin and all these murderers that they choke people to make people fall asleep and they break people's legs and shit. Like that's what they do. That's their job. And
Yeah,
so you're like, oh, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, that's what you think of. But then you also remember that a lot of people will do Brazilian Jiu Jitsu to like lose weight. So like, I guess we're getting
yeah,
in. How deep are we into the podcast? We're 14 minutes in, and we're talking like because Joey Diaz, who is this comedian, he's on the Joe Rogan podcast all the time. He was like 400 pounds and started doing BJJ and lost a bunch of weight. But he is infamous for just being like a stoner, and so it's if Joey Diaz can lose 150 pounds during Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, I think you'll be fine.
yeah. Yes. I don't know. Like I always think of. I don't know. I'm just gonna.
If you can figure out how to ruck, I feel like you can figure out how to do BJJ.
I suppose. I guess it's no different than like top or bottom game, and like if you're wrestling, like if you know how to
Right.
do, like I can't do an Oklahoma because I don't know how to do that, and I could barely do it in the first place. But like if you can do shit like that, I guess it's not gonna be any different.
Oh no,
So
it's different, but it's not harder.
yeah,
But it's a different kind of thing. I think you'd have fun because we were gonna join, but then the COVID made that one tough.
yeah. I don't know.
But
Let's see.
I believe in you.
I
Who
need to do
knows? Maybe you
something.
could start playing men's rugby too, nerd.
Yeah,
You're out here gonna bench 400 pounds, so then just kind of go home, busy being all strong and shit, got nothing to lift.
just sits in a corner and sleeps.
Like, what did you do today? I benched 400 pounds and I went home and I watch paint dry.
Wow, what a life.
This you get an award the strongest manager at Walmart.
Yes. Just yes. It's fucking annoying, I tell you, because like instead of calling the stockman who that's what they get paid to do, they call me and I'm just like, bro, I'm in charge of the stockman. I'm not doing this. Or like the other day I had to push carts. I'm like, really? Why am I like my boss told me to go push carts? I'm like, why am I pushing carts? Not that it's hard, but it's just like there's this dude. He's just sitting at the self checkout. He doesn't do anything. Why don't you just have him do that? But okay.
He's watching self checkout, dude. He's busy.
Yeah.
I realized with like jobs and like a lot of service jobs or like at my job where we kind of sit a lot, and I feel bad. I'm like, well, we're just sitting here waiting, but you don't get paid. Like when you get paid, you don't get paid to do like to be busy the entire time. You get paid to do what you're told. And
Yeah.
if you're like on a schedule, it's like, well, I can only do this job after 3 o'clock, but I'm here at 8 in the morning. I have to do other stuff, but you kind of run out of other stuff. I feel like at Walmart you don't have that problem as much, but like with my job, we just we kind of get shit done right away, and then there's a lull in the middle of the day because we don't really have anything to do. But then at the same time, for every slow day, there's 3 busy ones. So
Yeah. That sounds about right. There's days where it's just like, okay, I have too many people and I don't know what to do with them. Oh, so don't know what to do with the too many people, and then you just kind
I feel
of
like
you just kind of throw a dart at the wall. So yeah,
what?
you just kind of throw a dart at the wall if you have too many people on the day that you have too many people, and it's slow, and try and find something for them to do. And then
Mm-hmm.
there's always those days, like you said, for every one day it's slow. There's 3 days. It's basically where you're the 3 days you're busy, you're understaffed and everything. So
Yeah, it always averages out.
yeah,
What do you think about the fast food workers like leaving businesses now? Have you seen that at all?
no, I've not. Are they just leaving because they get paid shit?
So they're all underpaid and overworked and poorly managed.
Yeah.
So a lot of like whole restaurant groups or crews will just walk out on a shift, and they'll put up a sign like this store is managed terribly and we're all overworked, underpaid. We're not getting the health safety that we need during this pandemic. Go to our competitor. They're 3 blocks down on the right.
Um, I think that happened. Like I think that
Like
happened with
here,
Taco Bell. Maybe because like or something like that because like I
but
didn't.
they're just like close because they have nobody that wants to work there.
Yeah, it was just closed. I think that yeah, that's what happened because like it was like 5 o'clock. I want to say it was. I want to say it was like 5 o'clock a couple days ago, and I was just like, no, it was 5 o'clock yesterday, and I'm like, wow, I feel really good about this week. Like I did great on bench day. I did great on my squat day. Well, great for like what I'm like. I'm slowly working my way back into things.
Hmm.
I had a good like shoulder and arms day because it's pretty hard to have a fucking bad days of those. And although like my deadlift day isn't that great, I felt like I still did something
Had a
adequate.
good week this week.
Yeah, I had a good week. I felt really productive and everything. I was really proud of myself. I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna go to Taco Bell, and the Taco Bell closest to Walmart was closed. I'm like, what? It's like 5 o'clock. Why are you closed? So then I ended up just getting some wings instead. But yeah, that's probably it, or part of the reason.
Yeah, it's just a crazy thing because it's everyone's like, well, you should raise the wages, and all the right wing talking points were like, well, you should get a job that pays more. Like we don't need to raise these wages,
Yeah,
and then everyone's like, okay, and then they all left. So now these stores have no people to work there because they pay $11 an hour, which
yeah.
is
So
nonsense nowadays.
I don't know. To me, it's hard. Like I get so stuck in the gray because like I understand both sides. Like obviously, if you're working at like Taco Bell, you probably don't have like a you don't probably have like a certain set of skills what transition into other jobs. That's why you're there. But also at the same time, if you have a shortage of people, a good way to ensure that you have people working there is to pay them more. And obviously, like most people could probably like step into a Taco Bell and learn, pick it up pretty easily. But like at the same time, if you want to keep those people there, you have to pay them. Otherwise, they're just going to leave you
Exactly.
and go elsewhere like what they should. And that's why, in a way, I feel like minimum wage is kind of stupid because in cases like that, they just walk out and find a different job, get paid more. So, and it forces them
I
to
think
pay them. Yeah. So
I think the minimum wage is a good thing for the same reason that like we have child labor laws in this country, because for a very long time people would send their 6 year old to the factory, and then these kids would fucking die in the factory because they're kids. Like, there's a reason we have to enforce these things, because people will try and take advantage of children for cheap labor.
okay,
And
I
it's
see what you're
like,
getting
yeah,
at.
there's people that can't make their decisions in the way their life is. Like, if I didn't have a car and I was exactly where I am right now, I don't really have a lot of options for where I could work. I would kind of be stuck working in one of these cheap jobs that I wouldn't be able to pay for
Yeah,
my own ability to live. But I can't, like, I could take a bus, but it's this weird thing.
yeah. Speaking
So I
of
think at
which,
least some minimum. I think we should. I think fewer people should be working minimum wage jobs, but there's no. It feels like it's hard to find jobs that are that tier up when you're looking for that. It's like,
yeah,
and that's what people are after. Everyone just wants to do their thing and kind of be left alone.
yeah.
And
Um, there's actually a surprising amount of people who I come across who don't have actual driver's license. Like I'm
what?
thoroughly surprised. Okay, so at like Walmart, we have like a financial services center, and like a lot of things you need to like. You're sending money. Please don't. It takes too long. It's not hard. It's time consuming compared to doing like your returns. And if you're sending money, receiving money, cashing a check, you have to have like a state ID or something like that. And a lot of them are just like the identification cards, and they're not driver's license. And then it's just
It's expensive to get your driver's license.
yeah, there's that too. I wasn't thinking about that part, but like it's just kind of like I don't want to say mind-boggling, but it kind of like opened my eyes up a little bit to the amount of people who actually don't have a vehicle and can't like
Exactly.
drive.
And there's a lot of people that can't drive for a lot of like medical reasons, or they had some accident. And they just don't.
Yeah,
But it's like, but then you don't have enough money even to work your way out. Like, there's always there's like a paragraph that floats around or whatever, but it's like a poor guy. If I'm dirt poor and I need to go to work, I need to buy a pair of boots to go to work. Correct? It's like, well, okay, so I have $100 to my name. If I buy a $50 pair of boots, I'll work through that pair of boots, and because it's a shitty pair of boots, it's the only one I can afford, and they'll break. And over a 10-year span, I will spend more on boots because I can never get enough money to buy that next tier up, compared to the guy that started with $1,000 and could buy the $150 pair of boots that'll just last him 5 years.
hmm
Like, well, it's hard to get started. Once you get started, you're fine, but it's just so hard to get started.
I think yeah. Okay, I get what you're saying.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm interested to see the political differences between like Colorado and Wisconsin, because Wisconsin, like, it voted blue in this last presidential election, but like as a whole, most of rural Wisconsin is very right leaning. Like,
yeah,
it's very much a red area, especially
without a
around
doubt.
Point.
Yeah,
Like, it's all kind of farmers, and you're hanging out, and there's a lot of like I would say we're kind of a red area. But then, like, when you go out west, it's like, well, it gets a lot more blue unless you're in those really desolate areas. But I have no idea which areas in Colorado will be red or blue. But I feel like in Colorado, it's this liberal mega place. It's the it's like them in Colorado, or Colorado and California are the big two. But it's like, well, I'm curious to see the difference. I don't think it'll be huge. It's not like it matters, but
no,
I mean, curious.
People will have a
Yeah.
lot in common, even if we choose to
Oh yeah, people are just
apprehend
people,
it.
just
Yeah.
here or there. It is gonna be weird seeing weed just legal, because it's like, well, it's important. It's like, you know what it smells like. And you
Yeah.
like walk around, it's like, oh, it smells like crime over here. And then you're in Colorado, and people just walk around and smoke them like cigarettes. It's like, well, shit.
Yeah, I'm
I think
waiting
it's gonna be
for
fun.
that. Not so I can blaze up doobie after doobie, but like I just there's no point of it. You can make money off of it too, so fuck it. Why not do it,
Oh yeah, it's there's so much money on there, like once it's taxed, but
Jesus, yeah.
I don't know. It's just one of those things. Like I don't think that many people need to go to jail for it either.
No.
There's so many people in jail for, and like, yeah, you probably shouldn't be selling weed. Yeah, it's illegal. Not like you broke the law. It is what it is. But it's one of those things. It's like it's kind of a dumb law to punish somebody that much for something that is less dangerous than alcohol.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
it's not like a family destroying drug like heroin is, like Jesus
right?
Christ, but like
Like it doesn't kill people in
yeah.
overdoses. Nobody gets really stoned and has violent tendencies.
Yeah, they're just
Like
kind
it's
of like,
not.
hey man. I'm
They get confused by traffic lights. Like you shouldn't drive on it, but it's like, well, you shouldn't drive on a lot of things. I don't know. I'm curious.
yeah.
I want to see. I want to live somewhere where it's legal and like be like, well, is this how is this now? Is this the new normal? What do you think is the over under on it being legalized in? I would say the majority of the U.S. just legalized recreationally. How many years?
Um, I don't know. I honestly would just want to say like 5 years. I don't know. I feel like that's a good number where
I feel that
I feel like
like
that's
three to
also
five.
I also feel like that's a very like common or like like people probably would have said that like 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah, 5 years.
Mm.
But I feel like 5 years is a good number. I don't know.
It's coming. It's gonna be one of those things where everyone is kind of realizing it's not that bad and just kind of shrugging, and then it becomes legal, and then it's everyone's like, oh, we have more tax money now, and it's you tax like a luxury good because it is a luxury good, and you hang out. And,
From what I
I don't
understand,
know.
and I'm probably wrong, I think part of why it was made illegal is because they were making. I think it
Oh,
was
there's
like
a bunch of racist bullshit about it that made it illegal.
yeah, and then there was like some like someone was making a shit ton of money off of hemp, like hemp rope,
Yep.
and something stupid like that. And some guy was like, "Fuck this! This is hurting my business. Let's ban this." And then that was like part
There's
of
a
it.
bunch of these weird connections to it. Like,
Yeah,
so it's like one of the original arguments is that it makes white women want to sleep with Mexican and black men. And like because at the time everyone was so racist, they don't want to like race mix.
yeah,
So they're like, oh no, we're gonna ban marijuana because it makes white women want to sleep with brown people. And it's like, well, that's really fucked up.
yeah.
And then, and there's a lot of like hemp products. Like you could, Henry Ford made like car fenders out of hemp fibers, and like and polyester, and
Really,
they were super strong, and they were like, like if you look at some of the original automobiles, like they ran on ethanol, and they ran, um, like they didn't go very fast, but they had really good efficiency. Well, it's I feel like our efficiency's got better, but they used weird shit to make them. They weren't all metal, but they were still strong.
okay. Something I wouldn't
But
have known.
now today, one of the larger things today that I heard this was like, oh, that's kind of fucked up. One of the main things keeping weed illegal in the U.S. is the private prison system, because they make the argument that it should stay illegal because that's the majority of their inmates. It's like weed and drug related crimes, and because like if you get caught for weed, like it's not this big violent thing. It's not like you're like running a cartel.
Yep.
But they would have all these mild or these non-violent offenders just hanging out, and so they kept fighting to keep it illegal because it keeps money in their pockets.
Yeah. So with that, if they're just released, okay. So if it's made legal, and oh no, that's probably only if they're wrongfully accused that they would have to pay them like reciprocity.
Yeah, I know. I think if they decriminalized it, I think they would start releasing people. I don't know if they'll get any big repercussions or if they'll pay people off. And if they do, it won't be in any significant way. It'll
Yeah.
be It'll be like eminent domain when they buy your house from you and run a highway over it where they pay you like $8. But
Oh, they did that with my. I think, speaking of which, I think they did that with my dad.
they fucked
not
them up.
not a highway, but like they were making a new bridge in Wausau. They're like, "Hey, man, your house is in the fucking way. Get out. Here's some money or something like that."
It's like what?
Huh?
It's that's so crazy to me that eminent domain shit. It's like you just take this
Yeah.
because. But there's some wacky shit right now. There's wacky shit all the time. It's fun though. Like it. Do you think the mask has staying power? Do you think we're gonna keep seeing them? Like next year? Do you think I'll still carry a mask around in my pocket? Kind of bullshit.
I think to an extent, yeah. I'm not saying everyone's gonna be wearing them, but like there will definitely be people wearing them next year. My dad always says, "Well, you're gonna wear a fucking mask for the rest of your life." I'm like, "Well, no, but it's just
But
an
it's
opinion."
like if you work in the service industry, like if say I was working in a McDonald's kitchen, you should be wearing a mask. Like I work at the clinic, I should probably be wearing a mask every day at the clinic.
I
And
don't know.
like if you're coming in and you have a cough, you should probably be wearing a mask so you don't give it to anybody else,
Yeah,
especially at the clinic where you could give it to somebody that could die. And it's well, I feel like a lot of places would be like, well, you should wear a mask.
yeah.
I think a mask would be a more
I
normal
think
thing. I think we're gonna have this COVID fatigue. Everyone's gonna like go nuts and not wear a mask for like 2 months, but then I think they'll crawl back.
yeah. There's not a lot. I don't know. A lot right now. Right now, there's probably not a lot of people. I would say probably at least half of Walmart customers right now don't wear masks. Not that it really
Yeah,
matters to me. I don't give a shit. To each their own. But like,
but
yeah, I would say it's probably at least half.
it's
But yeah,
still kind of it's a crazy concept to me because in like Canada and Japan or like a lot of Asian countries, if you have a cold, you just wear a mask out of like courtesy to everyone else so you don't spread disease. It's like that's just how it works over there. Like
yeah,
if I'm in
they're,
Singapore and I have the flu and I need to go somewhere, I'll wear a mask so I don't give it to anybody else.
yeah. From like what I understand, they're much more like, um, they're a lot less individualistic, and that's why
But I don't know. I've been talking about that a lot with this week with people. It's because they did a survey. They were talking to people, some interviews with Canadians. It's like, hey, why were masks not an issue up here? And they're like, well, it was a lot of a pride in our community thing. We're taking care of our community. And well, it's like when you look at these Asian countries, like you're right, they're more collective and they view their community and they'll do things more for each other, even though it's not going to actively help them. But when they interviewed Americans, well, the U.S. citizens, it was like fuck that guy, like shit on my neighbor kind of thing. But it's like I think you can be a really individualistic society, but also like take pride in taking care of your neighbor. Like that was like one of the things like the greatest generation, like you take care of each other.
Mhm.
And I think a mask is an extension of that. I think it got politicized right away, and that kind of fucked it up. But it's like picking up garbage on the street. It's like yeah, I can. It doesn't bother me at all to just pick up this can and throw it away.
Yeah,
But it makes the world a better place, and so I'll do it.
I don't know.
I don't know though.
I just like the idea that it was a law to me is interesting. Um, just
It's
because,
an extreme situation, dude.
yeah, I
The
know. No,
world's on
I
fire.
get that. I don't know. I'm coming at it from a different perspective, and I know like
Yeah.
when this was like first coming out, I was literally like, well, the hell with you. Like, why do I have to wear a mask when it's Give me a sec. Let me try and get back and like think about it. Um, like my whole idea was like, if you're that concerned about it, maybe you should go shopping. Like, maybe you should get stuff delivered to you. Why do I have to protect you? It's not my job, and that's how I approached it at first. So I don't know. Looking
But
back, that's a
like at the
different
same
conversation.
time, it's like I don't want to punish someone because they like say you're 70. Like, are you gonna figure out or 75? Like, are you gonna figure out like how to order shit? My grandma's 74. She turned 75 in a month. She can't figure out how to watch Netflix on her iPad. It's like you expect her to order groceries
Yeah. Okay.
and then go pick
So
them up. It's
to
like,
be
well,
no, go on.
It's one of those things like, well, there's a certain group that can't, and that's why they were doing those hours where it's like this is just for elderly and pregnant people. It was like come in the mornings, like 8 to 10 or whatever, or 6 to 8 or whatever. They
Yeah.
had these special hours. I don't know.
Um, Speaking of which, it took me well over 30 minutes how to figure all my shit out here, so I really don't have too much room to talk. Yeah,
On
before,
your technical side,
yeah, so to the people who don't know what was going on beforehand, which is everyone, um, Keegan probably had to sit here for about 30 minutes while I tried dicking around setting up my new webcam for the OnlyFans, and then trying to get the audio output through my through my headphones instead of the speakers in the laptop. So yeah, I don't really have too much room to talk, but yeah, that's how I approached it.
yeah, just kind of. Yeah. I know I did a lot of reading about the original, like the 1920s, the Spanish flu,
Yeah.
and people made a fucking hissy fit about masks then too. And so like there's people that were cutting holes in masks for cigarettes, which I thought was funny. They would wear leather masks. So the Red Cross went out and they were making these gauze masks and they were boiling them and they had these sterilization stations where you could drop off your old mask. They would wash them and give you a new one, kind of like baby diapers where you can like just exchange them out. But they were boiling them and they were disinfecting them as they went, so they were all clean. And then following that, there's a lot of studies about like, well, how do we get public health measures to get pushed out effectively? And one of the big things is like you can't mandate shit right away. You have to give people the opportunity to like have pride in their community and like do that. But at the
Okay.
same time, it becomes such an extreme situation that you can't not. It's like, well, if the room's on fire, like it would be nice if somebody just put the fire out, but like, yeah, put the fire out. The world's on fire, so
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. It's been fun to work in public health during this crazy time. This time of great global uncertainty.
Um. Yeah, I would say so. For you, anyways. What was I saying? So I had every now and then I still get complaints about people not wearing masks, and someone was complaining to me that when the H&R Black person, no, Jackson Hewitt or Hewitt Jackson, yeah.
But
There was a guy from Hewitt Jackson who would do like people's tax returns, and there was like a big plexiglass like window in front of them, and he wasn't wearing a mask, and like people were complaining about it. I'm like, well, when you're speaking to him, you're behind the glass, so
right,
you know it doesn't matter if he wears a mask because it's not going to affect you. But to each their own.
yeah. He has a superior piece of equipment.
Yeah.
That's one thing I'll see at the clinic sometimes. Instead of goggles and a like a surgical mask, somebody will come in and they'll wear it. They'll have a full face shield,
Oh yeah.
which would be kind of annoying, but like it works. It's off your face. It's mounted to your head like a hat. So it's like, well, it's one way to do it.
Yeah. You can see your like actual like reaction, like
Hmm.
when you talk about the mannerism.
It's weird seeing faces nowadays. It's like when you're so used to seeing everyone with a mask. Like I had all my coworkers. I don't know what my coworkers actually look like. Like, I've
Interesting.
seen most of them, but there's a few of my coworkers. I don't know what their face looks like. And then they
Okay,
take their mask off, and you see their face. It's like, oh, that's what you can look like.
I have a question. So like when you meet someone, do you envision them looking a certain way? So like for example, when I meet someone with a mask on it, where I picture them with like a bigger nose for whatever reason, and then like when they take the mask off and they have a small nose like me, it always just throws me for a loop. Like what the fuck?
Yeah,
I was wrong.
people never look like you think they're going to look.
Yeah,
Because like when like think of like if you only see like half of somebody's nose, it's like you have no facial cues, and like you can
yeah,
like what am I gonna do? Base the size of your nose off the size of your forehead? I don't fucking know.
yeah. And
And
then
to like jawlines make a big difference.
yeah,
Like the way your like jaw is shaped, like that make like it's you can't tell when somebody's wearing a mask. It's like I
yeah.
have no idea what the fuck you look like.
Then I remember there were like some girls. who were like college agents and stuff like that who like started working, and they looked like they would be like really pretty, like sorry, Kirsten, um, they were like really attractive, and then they take off your mask and you're like, oh, you just have pretty eyes. That's
Yeah.
about it.
I
Okay.
was, I saw somebody for the research, and like you have no idea, you can't tell, and you know nothing about this person other than their name, so you kind of chat and make conversation. And he had to drop his mask to like take a nose swab. We kind of chatting. I'm like a normal. This is just a normal 25-year-old dude. He dropped his mask. He had one tooth.
What? What?
And then I'm like, yep, this is how it is. We're going up to your blood draw quick, and I'm gonna not see you again. So I did end up seeing him. And the funny part was like, when you don't know about anybody, you treat everyone really well because you want to treat everyone really well anyway. But you don't have any like if he had one tooth, and then I saw him right away, and he was like, "Hey, I have one tooth," I'd be like, "Oh, you have one tooth," and that would be like in my head. I'm like, "You have one tooth." But when you have that mask on, it's like it's kind of an equalizer.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I'm a bright
I
side of
remember.
things.
Yeah, and it's like I was still nice to him, but it's like, oh, you have one tooth.
Yeah, and like in your head, you're reacting differently. I get it. You're not going to treat
Hmm.
them any differently from like
But it's
accident.
a definitely a thing you notice.
Yeah.
I was not ready for that one though. That one I've seen a lot of stuff where people oh you actually have a cleft palate or whatever. It's like it's fine. Or if you
Yeah.
have like a significant facial scar, the big mustache has always surprised me too because you have no idea.
Yeah.
So like I had one guy and like he like dropped it and he had this like gigantic mustache. Like it was like Yosemite Sam type mustache. It was awesome, but I
That's
just was
funny.
not ready for it at
Yeah.
all.
So coach.
One of my coworkers too, like had like a bunch of facial hair, and he's like, "Look at this," and he like had it, and he was all like, "It's styled like a French pirate." I was like, oh, "This is great."
Yeah. There's a couple stories like that, or instances like that, I should say. Like one of my stockmen would always wear like a like a like a balaclava or whatever the fuck you want to call those.
Like the gator mask.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then he took it off because it was always like super tight on him, and he had like a fucking full beard. I'm like, what? And then one of the like Wausau rugby coaches, who's really like older, his name's Dan
I think it's Dan.
something. He took off his mask for a second. He had this huge ass mustache, and I'm like, what the hell? Didn't see that coming.
It's
I
fun.
just, wow.
Yeah,
What
it's
a life.
cool.
It
Do you
makes
still? We got to go up to a what?
Oh, I was gonna say make some of these like small like surprises make life a little more interesting. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I
Oh,
feel bad for like little kids because they're kind of in like if you're in that stage where you're developing your ability to read faces, but you just can't right now. I
yeah,
bet what they'll be really good though is reading eyes. Like you might not be able
yeah,
to read like a mouth, like a tick or whatever, but you can if you can read foreheads and like read like eyebrows and tell like really pay attention to people's eyes, you can. I feel like you'll be fine. It's just gonna be weird for people when they take those masks back off. It's like shit.
yeah.
Mm.
What were you saying now?
We got to go up to Alaska and visit Max and eventually Big George because he's also moving up. I don't think that'll be the
What?
same trip, but yeah, he got a job at like one of the smaller towns, well, one of the bigger towns, I should say, but they're not connected to the highway system, but they're still like the ninth largest in Alaska. But he's going up to work as a teacher.
Polar bear is going to meet polar bears. Okay,
Yeah,
good for him. Good,
very
good.
excited. Yeah, he works so hard, he's earned it,
Yeah,
and I think he'll like it up there.
hmm,
So
he'll fit in.
for sure, we'll have to get it's gonna be funny though because like he can handle the cold, but I feel like Alaska is like a whole different thing because it's everything's so foreign.
Yeah,
But we'll have to go up and visit those guys.
yeah. I would say so. Oh,
We go in the winter. I heard it's nice in the winter.
good for that. Um,
Max is gonna listen back to this one. This is bullshit. It's terrible.
yeah.
Never come up. But I would love to go up. I still think going on like a caribou hunt would be super fun. I don't
They're
know, like
fucking stupid.
caribou hunts. Caribou
No,
or
no, caribou.
caribou are dumb.
Apparently they're super fast though. Apparently they run like 50 miles an hour.
I mean, I would hope so.
That's crazy. But yeah,
Then they're
they're the
huge. I think they're a lot bigger than I think they are. Because I
yeah.
think they're like a big deer, but like when you look at an elk, like that's not a big deer. Like a big deer is like what 200 pounds.
Oh, that would be huge.
That's a big
That's a
deer.
huge deer. Yeah,
But then like an elk is like 1,000 pounds easy. It's like
yeah,
Jesus.
yeah.
And then like a caribou, what's a caribou? 700 pounds.
Probably. It's probably not as
Caribou
big,
are
but
big, big
it's
though.
definitely up there though. Can you
Yeah,
imagine like moose hunting? Holy fuck.
dude, moose hunting sounds terrible. Well, especially do people do it with bows, and because the way like the mooses, they're like a T Rex from Jurassic Park, where it's like the vision is based on movement.
Yep.
So like people will shoot full grown moose at like 6 yards. Like they'll be at a tree, they'll pull their bow, they'll turn and just donk like
Yeah,
6 feet away,
yeah.
or 6 yards away.
I've seen it in videos because I used to watch a lot of
Oh my
videos
god,
when I was a kid.
they're insane.
Yep.
They're absolutely nuts.
There's people who go like grizzly bear hunting with bows, and it's just
That's
like,
nuts too. Well, there was a woman that shot a polar bear with a bow. There's no trees up there.
no
How
thanks.
big, how crazy you got to be to shoot a polar bear with a bow? That's
Max
bad.
crazy.
Yeah, Max would be out there with a spear.
Yeah. Jesus.
I can't.
Fuck.
Yeah,
I can't.
I think polar bears are fucking enormous too. Like it's like around here, if you see a black bear, it's a big deal. But like up on Lake of the Woods or wherever, seeing a black bear is like a pretty common thing. But like a 7 foot black bear is a very big black bear. But
Yeah.
then like a brown bear is another like class bigger. And then you get into like grizzly and these Kodiak bears on these islands, and they're fucking huge. But then a polar bear dwarfs all those bastards. Probably not a Kodiak bear because like that's fancy, that's the subspecies or whatever. But like polar bears are fucking enormous, and they fucking murder people.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
They're so big. Oh, largest polar bear on record weighed 2,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Shot in Alaska in 1960. Stood 11 feet tall when it was standing on its hind legs.
Jesus fuck.
When it was like on all fours, I think it was 4 feet tall. No, the shoulder height of an adult polar bear is 4 feet to 5 feet tall. Oh my god, polar bears are terrifying.
Yeah. I just.
But Big George said because his nickname's Polar Bear, so he wants to see a polar bear. I don't know if I'd even enjoy seeing a polar bear. Like if I think of it's in like an airplane, and like the pilot was like, "There's a polar bear," and I looked, and there's a polar bear. I think I was like, "That's neat,"
Yeah.
but I don't think I would like to, like, be in a canoe and see one on shore. Even I feel
Nope.
like that would be bad news. Like if, like, say you just like lived up there and you like peek your head out to take your garbage out, and there's a fucking polar bear there. Probably feel I need new pants kind of shit. Have you ever had any run-ins with bears?
Um. I mean, I've seen them like in my backyard when
But like, have
like
you
a
ever
long
been
time ago.
outside with a bear? Like, came around the
Yeah.
corner on your house and like you're there and there's a bear like 30 feet away?
No, not that I think of. Not that I know of. I can't think of one. No.
I've done that a few times because like when I was working up on Lake of the Woods, they were all over,
Hmm.
and we've taken a lot of trips to, like, northern Minnesota, and there's a lot of them up there. Speaking of that, I'm going on a Boundary Waters trip, like mid end of June, like June 20th, I think is our leave day.
Okay.
Do you know anything about the Boundary Waters?
Not a damn thing.
Oh, you're gonna enjoy this. So, you have the entirety of human knowledge at your fingertips. I'm gonna let you Google this, and I encourage everyone who doesn't know what we're talking about to Google it as well. It's called the Boundary Water Canoe Area Wilderness, or BCAW. It goes by a few different things. There's also like Voyageurs National Park. On the Canadian side, I believe it is Quetico, but it's this wilderness area that is essentially untouched. There's no motors allowed. There's some regions where you can have like a trolling motor, but most of it is paddle only. So canoes and kayaks, pack in, pack out everything, and it's rural or it's like wilderness camping. So you're not allowed to have any like motors. There's no lights other than like a flashlight which you can carry. It's essentially untouched. And what you do is you take canoes and you carry them in, or you paddle into the boundary waters, and there are different campsites. So you'll buy a permit. You'll like, me and four people are gonna go in, and we're gonna be in this area for this amount of time, and you pay $100, whatever. But they have these campsites that it's essentially just like a flat spot, and then there's a ring of rocks. But that's it. A lot of them too will have like a bench, maybe, out of like an old tree and some rocks, but most of them are just kind of a flat spot. Some of them have toilets, but they're not actual toilets. They're just like a plastic toilet over a hole, and then they will just move them every like 4 years. So then you can at least sit on something while you poop. But you have to bring your own toilet paper and you biodegrade. Some people will pack out all of their waste even. They won't leave like their droppings.
That's interesting.
That's I don't, some people really push for that. I don't see that as a huge issue.
No, because
I
there's
feel like that's kind
there's
of
shit in woods. So
very excited though. I've been up once. That one was more of like a camping canoe trip. Like, let's just go enjoy the nature, and we fished a little bit. This one is going to be a fishing trip. So we're going to go, and I think we might end up trying to catch some lake trout, depending on the topography. If we can find a spot, if we can find the right lake and fish for them, I would love to. But I think we're gonna eat a lot of fish while we're up there. I'm excited.
okay, that would be fun. Yeah, I was just looking that up. That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so me and Joe and potentially Olivia and her dad. Her Olivia's leg is pretty fucked up right now. Um,
You're going to like a camping trip.
we're going to Seattle, but like Joe, because
Oh,
Joe
fun.
really wants to see Seattle, but like um, Olympia's National Park is like right across from there, and I want to go up and down Puget Sound because I'm sure there's fucking boats, but you can like get out and go on a tour because like you can see
Mm-hmm.
orcas and shit like that. I want to see that, so that would be cool.
Orcas are
Like we're
neat.
gonna go there for like 5 days. Obviously, it's a little different, but I think the
When is that at? Or what? Like when?
when,
Yeah, like end of the summer or like?
yeah, August 23rd through the 27th. So
Oh, that'll be fun.
yeah, I'm excited, and like I like the Pacific Northwest. We were talking about the redwoods,
Mm-hmm.
but that's an 8-hour drive from Seattle, so
It's
that's
a lot.
So yeah,
There's a lot of cool stuff up there, though. I've heard it's beautiful. I would love to like see it too.
yeah, I'm excited.
Mm.
So I would like I not necessarily like Seattle itself, but like the Pacific Northwest, I think is cool.
Mm.
I wouldn't mind living there, but like you could probably guess like the reasons why also probably wouldn't want to. So yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, but we should definitely go up to Alaska and visit.
Yeah,
I keep giggling at Katie. I'm like, we should just move to Alaska. All of our friends are moving up there. We should just move up there. And then she looks at me like I just killed a puppy, and I go, no, we're not gonna do that. Don't worry about that. I think Colorado's gonna be fun.
yeah, it is.
You'll have to learn to ski.
Yeah, I've never done that. I mean, like I've done cross country, but that's different from downhill.
Not the same. Have you ever
Yeah,
water skied?
I've tried, but not
So
like
you know what they
recently.
say where it's like you push like down with your heels,
Uh huh.
and then that's how you get up. If you do that while you're or like downhill skiing, you're gonna die. So it's almost counterintuitive, but you have to like lean forward, and the more you lean forward, the more pressure you can exert, the more control you have.
Okay,
So
interesting. Wouldn't
it's
have
very
thought
fun.
of that.
Yeah, that was like the very first time I ever went skiing. I grabbed ski stuff that was like my dad's foreign exchange students. This would fit me technically, but Isaac, one of my best friends growing up, he snowboards and had snowboarded for forever. So he's like, "Oh yeah, let's just go." Well, like, oh yeah, great. I've never skied before,
Yeah.
so we get to I like wiggle my way over. We get on the lift. We're going up to this blue because it's the only one open right then. And we get to the top, and he goes, "See you at the bottom," and just leaves. So I'm now standing at the top of the hill. I have never skied before, and it's busy. So I just kind of start sliding. I fell like 7 or 8 times, and I was like, "Well, it's like skiing. Like I know you put your weight on your heels." I just couldn't. I had zero control. It took me 3 times to figure out how to slow down. So I was going really fast a bunch of times, but the freaking like I was struggling, and the ski patrol like saw me and like kind of went by, and then they went down and came back up, and I was still like only like maybe 50 yards further down. Like, you don't know what you're doing, do you? Was it that obvious? Yeah. And they gave me like the most basic of pointers. They're like, keep your skis straight if you want to go fast. Pizza if you want to slow down. Don't cross your tips. Uh, Carve to slow down. Wait on your toes. And then they left. And then I like figured it out. Now I'm a good skier.
Good. French
So you can figure it
fries,
out.
pizza, French fries.
Yeah, it's so fun. I have to come down.
Oh yeah.
Then I gotta get there's some of my foreign exchange siblings. They want to go out because they want to go to Moab in Utah,
Okay.
and that's like an hour and a half from where we'll be. So
Oh, that's not too bad.
yeah, so they'll have to. Now I have another reason for them to come visit.
Yeah, exactly. That's cool.
But yeah, we're at about an hour, man. You anything else you want to cover?
Um, not really. Oh, that was a bad fart. Sorry if you heard that. Well, no, that's about it. Not really. Um, Lions team was selected for rugby. Not that too many
Good
people.
for
Well,
them.
I'm sure half of our audience wouldn't mind like looking into that, but that's exciting. Couple snubs.
Was Sam Underhill not selected? Was that
Yeah,
which is kind
but
of weird?
he's okay. So he's listed as a reserve. So if someone gets fucked up in the meantime, he can get called up.
Which does happen.
Yeah, but like
Who did they pick over him though? Like he's one of the
it's
premier flankers,
so deep at loose forwards. It's fucking. It's the most competitive position, I think.
yeah.
Hamish
I'm just
Watson.
surprised.
Hamish Watson, who won man of the tournament for the Six Nations this year. Um, his Tom Curry, who's his like counterpart, English counterpart. Oh, fuck. Let me pull this up now. I'm gonna pull this up quick. Sorry, people. Um,
And who's playing 8? Is it?
he played. Eddie tried making him an 8 when Billy Vanapola was injured, but it didn't go as planned. Hold on. But it's just like so deep, and he didn't play during the Six Nations this year because he had hip surgery like right before it started because he literally injured his hip right before the Six Nations squad selection happened.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah, but like otherwise he probably would have been in. Um,
Yeah, Tom Curry's in there. Huh.
I should say squad. Hold on. Anyways, yeah, for the most part, I think it's
Huh.
pretty good. But like, there are a couple snubs, but you'll have that when it's super competitive. When you're
hmm
drawing from full countries.
Johnny Sexton got left out.
Yeah.
Is he hurting or what's he?
He's been injury prone lately.
He's been injured.
Yeah, like
He's older too.
yeah, he's 35. One of the announcers during a game during a
Billy
match.
Vanapola didn't go. Manu Tuilagi. Who did they pick, dude?
Sam
Did they
Simmons.
just go? Did you?
Sam Simmons from Exeter is going for eight
He's
man.
been killing.
He is so fast. So he's like
He's been killing
225.
right now.
So he's definitely a smaller eight man, but he can run. It's
He's got his
crazy.
pace
Like
going.
I'm so happy that they selected
Yeah.
him.
And if that's the team they're trying to build too, if they want to go a speed team or if they want a faster forward there to cover stuff, it's
Yeah.
like
So if you watch Twitch, they want like a faster eight man, and then they have like an inside center who's more of a
Mhm.
beefier and item inside center, I guess. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So Jack Conan, for 6, he's taller. I think he offers more lineouts. Tom Curry, Talupe Felatau is a big.
hmm
big for Sam Simmons versus Justin Tipperick. Justin Tipperick's really, really good. He's a Welshman, so fuck the Welsh, but he's really good. Hamish Watson, who won um, Player of the Tournament, and then he
Hmm.
selected Courtney Laws, who's been injured lately, but Courtney can play lock and number six, and he's really good in lineouts. So
That's nice.
yeah, he's just a little more
Get that
versatile, I guess.
flexibility.
Yeah, than like
Do
an
you
Andy
see
Hooks.
Kieran Reed?
Yeah, he retired because like Joe asked me, he's like, I thought he already retired beforehand. I'm like, no, that was just from international play. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's
He's like
done.
hard retired now.
Yeah.
Do you think he's gonna coach?
I don't know. He said he wanted to do more stuff with his family.
Yeah.
From like, I maybe at some point. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people could coach at some point, like just because like they miss part of it.
Hmm.
I don't know. So yeah, I don't know. That's the only thing I was gonna add. Any closing comments?
I finished 2 more books. The next book I'm reading is some Nietzsche, I think.
Very
That
cool.
or I'm gonna try and read um The Social Contract, which is one of the books you told me to read a long time ago. So
Yeah,
that's the book update.
I've read
I
highlights
read
of that book.
Candide in like 4 hours.
Huh?
I read so I finished 1984 and then I read Candide over like
Oh,
4 or 6 hours.
yeah. I have to read that. I don't know. I've been reading a lot of nonfiction, or trying to.
Hmm.
Jesus Christ. But yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. But either way, I want to say thanks to everyone for listening to us ramble. Max should be on. I don't know if he'll be on again next week or if he's going to be off yet again, but we're trying to get back on that regular schedule. I think we're looking at things being a little better moving forward. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, thanks again for listening. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe to this one, and like leave a hateful comment and unsubscribe from somebody else.
Pick
Fuck
on
those
Welsh
guys.
people. Bye.